Hello and welcome to Benue Television News at 9. I am Susan Achin. The headlines: Benue State Civil Protection Guards arrest suspected vandals in Makodi. Federal government pleads for more time in the wake of growing hardship and calls for nationwide protest. When the International Sin Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces agrees to United States mediated talks on Sudan war. Officers of the Benue State Civil Protection Guards have arrested some suspects who have been vandalizing property and electricity transformers in Makodi. A security correspondent to Martha Iku tells us more.
The latest arrest in early hours of Wednesday was at the School of Aviation at Utu Layout, Welfare Quarters Extension in Makodi, when the young men were allegedly arrested while removing doors of the school. The security officer in charge of the School of Aviation, Mr. Abba Steven, narrating the destruction done on the school, says over 100 doors and windows were removed by the suspects from the school during different operations before they were finally arrested.
One certain day we are go there. I meet this young guy with him begin along with the guy when Cali, him begin along. We pursue him, but we no fit catch him. I see after police go back, I see go meet him face to face with his father. Bring his father say, make that thing then stop. When I talk with his father pursue me with the cutlass. Say that work, no my father work. I come out from his house. After 2 days, then went there, break the door, park toilet, park engine, 2 engine, 4 gen, like 120 door, glass for window, all they don't look one.
The acting commander, Benue State Civil Protection Guards, Captain Ayoma Ajobi, describes the arrest of the suspect following a tip-off on criminal activities in the area, calling on the people of the state to always make available information to his men for prompt action.
Our men were able to apprehend some suspects, and as you can see from the background, 2 of them were picked at the School of Aviation. Like our slogan, if you see something, say something. This is the gains of that slogan. So I'm appealing to every citizen of Benue State. Like, if you see something that is wrong, don't keep quiet. Alert the security agencies. We're there.
The special advisor to the Benue State Governor on Security and Internal Affairs, Mr. Joseph Har, says the present administration will do everything to rid the state of all forms of criminal elements, adding that the suspect will be prosecuted to serve as deterrent to others.
This is a very good fit to show how serious we are working within Makurdi here. We are going to prepare them and hand them over to the police as required by law. We cannot prosecute. We've gotten some facts of those who are involved, the sellers, the colluders, some of them who are actually law enforcement agents. We also got those details.
The suspects arrested from the School of Aviation who confessed to committing the crime said they have sold some of the doors they removed.
So I sold them.
I steal dog from School of Aviation. First time to go there.
Among the suspects arrested are these teenagers who were arrested in connection to vandalization of electricity transformers, who says they found some iron coppers from the site where an electricity transformer was vandalized by a group of criminals at the residential area for commissioners in Makurdi. He said parts of the wires has been left along with others had come to pick them to sell to ironmongers before the officers of the Benue State Civil Protection Guards arrested them. The security officers in charge of the School of Aviation says 2 of the suspects were arrested with about 26 doors and 3 motorcycles which were used in the operation. One of the suspects escaped and is still at large. Martha Iko, Benue Television News, Makurdi.
Well, in a strategic move to expand its businesses, generate employment opportunities and boost the economic development of Benue State, the Benue Investment and Property Company BIPC has moved to take over the Ben Fruits Company Limited. The juice processing factory owned by Benue State government has been dormant since 2015 under the management of Telagro. Manager Director BIPC Dr. Raymond Asamakaha has now stepped in to revive the operations. The MD and his team inspected the Ben Fruits equipment at the industrial layout in Makurdi and directed the engineering team to resume work Thursday, July 25, 2024. According to the MD, the engineering team will test the equipment and ascertain functionality. He says once necessary checks are completed, BIPC plans to run a juice production line for a variety of fruit drinks that people in the state can consume effectively. The takeover is seen as aligning with the vision of Governor Hyacinth Alia to drive economic development in the state through strategic investments and job creation. Meanwhile, moral values and good ethics again have been advocated as basis for shaping the society. Director Digitotes Academy Mthina Shankula announced this Wednesday during the graduation of Digitotes Academy Makurdi. Manasiano Ngochia, who went around schools to monitor activities at graduations, has the rest of the report.
Every year, primary and secondary school in July and early August come to an end for the session to resume in September. Within this period, many schools conduct end-of-session ceremonies such as graduations and prize-giving day. At Digitotes Academies graduation ceremony Wednesday, it's a moment of joy and excitement as the various classes take turns to present dance, rhymes, and memory verses to the guests and parents who grace the occasion. Proprietress of the school, Mrs. Mthina Shankula, believes the society can be better if learners in various schools imbibe the virtue of good moral and ethics taught to them in schools. Shankula says the society will be better only when learners keep to the teaching they receive from teachers and parents.
If these children are going out with such moral education, that shows that we are having a better society. And Digitotes Academy Makurdi is one of the schools that are taking the bull by the horn to ensure that we contribute our own little quarter into a better society by training the children to be better as they grow up. I would advise the graduates to 1, trust in God, 2, see miracles in life every day. We tag that as smile. See miracles in life every day. And that will take them far. We also encourage them to be excellent in whatever they do. Hard work pays.
Head teacher of the school, Mrs. Faustina Pila, who received an award for serving the school for 10 years, promised to do more and encourage others to do same.
I'm so happy and excited, overwhelming. I don't really know how to thank God Almighty for the opportunity given to me today. And for me, working here for 10 years have granted me that laptop, and I'm so happy. What I've been wishing to have, and God just provided for me today. So I'm grateful to God for that gift. We are good to go because I know that that is human for us, and I have to endure. That's endurance. So, and it has taken me this far today. So I really thank God for that. And it's nice working with her because she has really mentored me in such a way that even when without her, I'm able to handle the school without her being around.
Parents Dave Itodo and Faith Honge described the school as an institution of repute and encourage parents to support the school in its efforts to build up the children academically, mentally, and spiritually for a better society.
My advice to other parents is that they should not leave the training of their children alone to just the teachers. They should labor behind the scenes to make sure that their children are well brought up academically, spiritually, and character-wise.
My advice for the graduates is to be more focused. They shouldn't forget where they are coming from. Some are coming from a rich background, some are coming from struggling background. But even though your parents have or they don't have, be focused. Know that you are there to make your parents proud. First, you're making God proud, making your parents proud, and then you should make yourself proud too. Because when you give quality to yourself, you are returning it back to the society.
A best graduating student, King David Itodo, and other learners smile home with gifts. Manasseh Nongachia, Benue Television News, Makudi.
The federal government says it will resume mass trial of over 300 suspects arrested in connection with terrorism in the country. It stated that the decision is in pursuance of its commitment to promoting social justice. Benue Television reports that hundreds of suspects allegedly sponsoring terrorism and perpetrating the act had been arrested by various joint security forces across different theaters of operations in the country. Well, no fewer than 5 judges of different federal high courts are currently handling trial of the suspects under the supervision of the National Counter-Terrorism Center in the Office of the National Security Advisor. Well, disclosing the resumption of the trial to newsmen in Abuja on Wednesday, the head of strategic communications in the center, Abu Michael, said before now, over 800 case files had been reviewed and charges had been drafted for efficient prosecution. Michael said that the trial involved multiple stakeholders, Complex Caseworks Group, CCG of the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, prosecutors and defense counsel from the Legal Aid Council of Nigeria. He stated that between 2017 and 2018, the trial so far resulted in 163 convictions, 882 discharges, and 5 acquittals. Michael said suspects that were not found culpable are being decalized, engaged in profitable ventures, and efforts to reintegrate them are being sustained. He added that the National Counter-Terrorism Center and the Office of the National Security Advisor are working assiduously with relevant authorities in fulfilling their mandates and boosting efforts of the Tinubu administration towards realizing good governance and a just society. In part 2, after the break, in the wake of the growing hardship in the country and calls for a nationwide protest against President Bola Tinubu's administration, the federal government has said it is not sleeping on duty, begging for more time from Nigerians. We'll bring you much more after this break. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Benue Television News at 9. Moving on, in the wake of the growing hardship in the country and calls for a nationwide protest against President Bola Tinubu's administration, the federal government has said it is not sleeping on duty, begging for more time from Nigerians. While describing the planned protest against as family matter, the government said all issues will be resolved in a way to ensure the peace and stability of the country. Well, Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris disclosed this on Wednesday in Abuja after a meeting held by members of the Federal Executive Council at the instance of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. Asked whether the government has been engaging with the stakeholders and organizers of the planned protest, Idris said engagement has always been an ongoing thing. On the alleged insistence by some top Nigerians, including a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, that the protest must go on, Idris said the senior lawyer was entitled to his opinion in a democracy. Idris further noted that a lot is happening and Nigeria is going to move on. He assured that whatever government comes out with will be in the interest of Nigeria. Well, some of the ministers who were at the meeting included Nyesom Wike of the Federal Capital Territory, Yusuf Tuga of Foreign Affairs, Zephaniah Gisalo of Special Duties, Tahir Maman of Education, and Abubakar Bagudu of Budget and Planning. Others were Waledun of Finance, Bello Matawali of Defense, David Umahi of Works, and the National Security Advisor NSA Nuhu Ribadu. Meanwhile, Minority Caucus of the House of Representatives on Wednesday advised the federal government to interface with intending protesters in a bid to find a lasting solution to the issues raised. The caucus made the demand as part of its resolution at the end of its meeting in Abuja. A statement issued by the media team of the caucus quoted the chairman, Kingsley Chinda, as urging those behind the planned protest to shelve the idea, citing the worrisome security situation in the country. He said the caucus is not encouraging protesters because in the past, peaceful protests have been overtaken by hoodlums and some unscrupulous people. Chinda called on the federal government to adopt a non-kinetic approach in tackling security challenges in the country. He also urged the government to ensure citizens are self-reliant in a bid to tackle the economic challenges in the country. We now shift our attention to the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, that has said it understands what Nigerians are facing because of the state of the nation's economy. It, however, warned against embarking on protests that could lead to unrest, saying that it is not going to provide any solution to the problems at hand. In a statement on Wednesday, National President of NANS, Loki Emonefe, said there is need to have a clear assessment of the situation and the necessary steps to take instead of embarking on protest. Emonefe called on those behind the planned protest to come out in the open and stop hiding their identity, saying it is necessary for Nigerians to interrogate their motives for the planned action. He assured that Nigerian students would not be part of any step or action to set the nation on fire, noting that cutting off the head is not the antidote for headache. Moving on, Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Zak Adedeji, has said that manufacturing companies in Nigeria lost about 1.7 trillion naira as a result of naira depreciation in 2023, not tax fines as widely speculated. Adedeji said this in Abuja during an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Finance at the National Assembly complex. While speaking of the negative effect of companies' departure, Adedeji said the losses have made the country lose hugely in terms of tax collection. He said this concerns the government because by law, the FIRS would not be able to collect any taxes from companies recording huge losses until they recover. He added that even if such companies make profit in 2025, they will claim they are losses being carried forward. Well, for more on business news, here is Lois Yutum. Over to you, Lois.
OK 700 consultant for environmental audits. Keyamo seek direct flight to Canada. CNG, Lagos assures residents of reduction in fares. Hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Lois Yotion. government has accredited over 700 consultants to conduct environmental audits and ensure compliance with environmental regulations nationwide. A report by the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESRE, stated that the consultants will assist various companies in Nigeria in addressing environmental concerns. The report titled NESRE and Environmental Protection in Nigeria. The journey so far obtained from the agency in Abuja on Tuesday read in part, the agency accredits environmental consultants to ensure compliance with the environmental regulations. The environmental consultant collects and documents evidence, assess facility compliance, and conduct environmental audits. They advise clients, formulate action plans, and submit environmental audits to NESRE for review and certification. The agency emphasized that NESRE accredited consultants must operate within NESRE guidelines through periodic workshops. The federal government enforces compliance with environmental laws through NESRE, as the agency often seals the promises of companies that neglect these laws. In March 2024, for instance, it seized 13 facilities in the Federal Capital Territory for non-compliance to environmental regulations after auditing their environments. Speaking at the recent induction of 100 newly accredited environmental consultants in Abuja, the Director General of NESRE, Innocent Bariko, said the consultant would be crucial in advancing environmental protection and sustainability in Nigeria. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has advocated for a direct flight from Nigeria to Canada following the increasing number of Nigerians who reside in Canada. This was disclosed in a press release signed by the head of press, Federal Minister of Aviation, Odutayo Oluseyi. Keyamo noted that most flights to Canada involve transit stops, emphasizing the need to establish direct routes to better support the Nigerian population there. He also highlighted Nigeria's strategic position being central from many countries worldwide, which position it to become a major hub in Africa. The minister emphasized the need for infrastructural development in the Nigerian aviation sector and mentioned that the country's long-standing relationship with Canada could pave the way for cargo development, given the rise of Nigerian interest in Canada. Oluseyi stated that a focal person from the ministry would be appointed to arrange for a memorandum of understanding between Canada and Nigeria regarding the direct route, source, cargo flights, and the proposed site meeting in Canada for business investments. The Canadian High Commissioner in Nigeria, Jamie Christophe, noted that around 18,000 Nigerian students were in Canada, with the Nigerian population expanding across various sectors. He mentioned that steps would be taken to explore the possibility of establishing a direct flight route to Canada. Christophe also highlighted Canada's robust aviation sector, valued at approximately $20 billion, and expressed his willingness to connect private sector investors with opportunities in Nigeria. The Lagos state government has said residents will pay less for transportation when President Bola Tinubu compressed natural gas initiative fully take effect. The special advisor to the Lagos state governor on transportation, Sola Gewas, said this during a pack-to-pack CNG mobilization program in Lagos. Gewas stated that the CNG initiative would not only bring down the prices of transport fares by 50% in the state and country at large, but would also decrease the concentration on the premium motor spirit, commonly called petrol. Also speaking at the sensitization program, a former national president of the National Union of Road Transport Workers and a current chairman of the Board of Trustees, Najim Yashin, appealed to transporters to embrace the initiative and reduce the cost of conveying passengers. He also said the president was engaging in free CNG conversion to ease the suffering of the masses, saying a rise in transport fares affected everything, including school fees. Leaders of NURTW, the Road Transport Employers Association, and the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners appreciated Tinubu's administration for the initiative, promising to support the government in achieving its plans. That's it on Business Today. Many thanks for watching. I am Lois Yotion. Do stay tuned for the rest of the bulletin.
Thanks, Lois. We now take a break. When we come back, international news. Do join us again.
Benue Fashion Show Season 3 is here.
It's that time of the year for fashion designers, entrepreneurs, and fashion enthusiasts to shine.
This year, sale of forms for the competition begins from 15th April to 19th July 2024.
Pick a form at Benue Television, located at Special Duties Wing, Government House, Makurdi. Form costs 5,000 naira only.
Stage 1 screening begins on the 6th of July 2024. Great prizes await you.
The first prize, 1 million naira. Second prize, 500,000 naira. And third prize, 300,000 naira. All prizes are inclusive of cash and fashion tools. Also, consolation prizes and gift items.
For sponsorship, partnership and inquiries, please call Benue TV Marketing on 0906 188 9838 or 0703 794 5569.
Benue Fashion Show,
embracing fusion fashion.
Welcome back. We are still live on Benue Television News at 9. We now move on to the international scene where leader of the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, Mohammed Dagalo, on Wednesday said his group is ready to participate in the United States-mediated ceasefire talks between the warring sides. Recall that the U.S. on Tuesday invited the RSF and Sudanese army to meet for talks in Switzerland on August 14, 2024, as efforts to end the conflict mount. The U.S. announced that the negotiations will be co-hosted by Saudi Arabia and include the African Union, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and the United Nations as observers. In a statement, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the talks in Switzerland aim to reach a nationwide cessation of violence, enabling humanitarian access to all those in need, and develop a robust monitoring and verification mechanism to ensure implementation of any agreement. Sudan's army, led by Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, is yet to respond to the invitation. While Blinken said Washington remains committed to working with partners to end the devastating war, direct talks in Saudi Arabia last year between the RSF and the army produced only agreements for temporary truces, which were quickly violated and repeatedly failed to end the war. Subsequent mediation attempts have failed to get the warring sides into the same room, as both vied for the tactical advantage of the ground. Indirect talks held earlier this month in Geneva by United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres' personal envoy were called an encouraging first step by the UN. While the brutal war between the RSF and the military government has raged in Sudan since April 2023. According to the United Nations, tens of thousands of people have been killed and almost 10 million displaced amid reports of numerous war crimes by both sides and a humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron has said he won't name a new government until after the end of the Paris Olympics. This comes after the New Popular Front, NFP, a left-wing coalition that makes up the largest group in France's parliament, after recent elections put forward a civil servant, Lucie Castex, as candidate for prime minister. Responding to the proposal, Macron said that to make a new appointment before mid-August would create disorder. Left-wing politicians have accused him of trying to cancel the result of the legislative elections, but the Olympics get underway with an opening ceremony in central Paris on Friday and will conclude on August 11, 2024. Macron accepted the resignation of Prime Minister Gabriel Attal following losses for their centrist party in parliamentary elections that concluded at the start of July. Under the French system, the president traditionally appoints a prime minister who is able to command a majority in the National Assembly. No party now has a majority, but the NFP controls at least 182 of 577 seats, putting it in the strongest position to propose a candidate. Well, after weeks of negotiations and just an hour before Macron was due to grant a television interview, the group put forward Castex, citing her record of work to defend public services. Ms. Castex is a 37-year-old economist and civil servant who currently works as Director of Finance and Purchasing for the City of Paris, but has no background in party politics. The choice is unusual as the Prime Minister is usually a serving member of the National Assembly. Well, an independent inquiry has found New Zealand state and faith-based institutions presided over the abuse of some 200,000 children, young people and vulnerable adults over the span of 7 decades. New Zealand's Royal Commission of Inquiry into Abuse in Care said on Wednesday that nearly 1 in 3 people in state or religious care between 1950 and 2019 experienced abuse in what amounted to it being called a national disgrace. The report said sexual abuse was commonplace, with abusers grooming those in their care and in some cases trafficking survivors to members of the public. It stated that physical abuse is also prevalent across all settings, with some staff going to extremes to inflict as much pain as possible using weapons and electric shocks. It disclosed that abuse and neglect almost always started from the first day a person was placed in care and often continued for the entirety of their stay. According to the report, Maori and Pacific Islander people were targeted because of their ethnicity, including being prevented from engaging with their cultural heritage and practices. The Royal Commission, which spoke to more than 2,300 survivors of abuse, made more than 130 recommendations, including legislative changes to make it easier to hold abusers accountable and the establishment of a ministry for care. New Zealand's Prime Minister Christopher Luxon said the report marked a dark and sorrowful day in the country's history. Luxon said the government would address the report's recommendations and make an official apology to survivors in November. Let's now join Loretta Alcor for Weather Report.
Good to have you join us for Thursday's Weather Report. The unsettled weather will become more unpredictable as heavy rain and thunderstorms set in all through the day in places like Makudi, Otuku, Boko, Kasinala, with a temperature varying between 23 degrees Celsius low and high around 30 degrees Celsius. Humidity of 65% with 59% possibility of precipitation. In the Federal Capital Territory, we're in the stage of very cloudy sky with possibility of rain falling all through the day. Temperatures low around 22 degrees Celsius and high around 29 degrees Celsius. While in Kaduna State, we expect heavy rainfall in the morning towards the afternoon periods, while the atmosphere in the evening will be cool and clear. Temperatures low around 22 degrees Celsius and high around 29 degrees Celsius. That's the weather package for today. Do join us again for another weather report. I am Loretta Alcor.
Thanks, Loretta. Well, that brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, let's take another look at the top stories. In the headlines, we saw that Benue State Civil Protection Guards have arrested suspected vandals in Makudi. We also saw that federal government has pleaded for more time in the wake of growing hardship and calls for a nationwide protest. The internationals in paramilitary rapid support forces has agreed to United States mediated talks on Sudan war. Well, that was Benue Television News at 9. Thanks for watching. I am Susan Achin. Good morning.